Welcome everybody to the Buzz. I'm Joe Davidson. I've been at the Sacramento Bee for a long time. This is a newer venture here, doing this video podcast. Started last spring, and really it's a thank you to our subscribers, our followers, as we try to offer some fun insight and some good stuff. I could already hear David Caraccio in my subconscious saying, "Move your screen down," as we all continue to get used to Zoom here. A lot of basketball talk as the Sac-Joaquin Section basketball playoff started this week. Play-in games were earlier this week. There are girls games tonight, boys openers if they didn't have play-ins on Friday. A lot of soccer going on. We'll have Jim Patrick talk about some of that. Cameron Salerno, big on girls basketball, does a great job. Check him out every day on sacb.com with news and notes, also on social media. With all of that, check out the Sac-Joaquin Section site if you're looking for playoff tickets, brackets, past champions, all that. We're going to break down as much as we can. But also certainly encourage you to check out their website. But let's talk a little football. It's always football season because coaches come and go, things like that. We lost another giant in coaching. There's Tony Martello. If Tony's watching this, he's going to say, "Geez, I look like a young man right there." Tony is ages well. He's an alum of the school. Great career at Colfax, 26 seasons, 24 winning seasons, 23 playoff bursts, total wins 230. This is all credit to our media friend Mike Ray, who has known Tony since Tony played offensive line at his alma mater at Colfax in the early 80s, and then took over and really just elevated Colfax into a small school powerhouse. I'm most impressed with Tony because he's used so many different offenses. He's used the spread offense, the pistol offense, the pro set spread. He used to go with one-way guys, and then the enrollment kept dropping. So then he had two-way guys and kept winning despite declining enrollment. Tony had told me a few months ago that this was probably going to be it. He will remain as a teacher there. We're going to tap in with Cameron Salerno a little bit. He has a pretty good sense of who might take over. It's still a plum job. So hats off to you, helmets off to you, Tony Martello, doing great work over the years for all the right reasons. All right, section basketball playoffs are here. Section finals are February 25 and 26 at Golden One. The soccer championships are also going to have a nice venue. Let's bring in Jim Patrick, and we'll break down how cool this is for these high school kids in soccer and basketball, Jim, to be playing in such nice venues. You know, you've had stops all across the country. Anywhere in your travels as a player, as a reporter and editor, where high school kids had such cool venues to play championship events?
As a player, not so much, Joe. I think we've gone over my soccer career. It is ignominious at best.
But how about from your coverage view? In Minnesota, Maine, Utah, do those states
New
have
Hampshire, blah blah blah? No, the one that jumps out at me, Joe, is Real Salt Lake. The Major League Soccer team in Salt Lake City hosted 3 divisions, the top 3 divisions by school enrollment population at their stadium. They have a soccer specific stadium there on the south side of Salt Lake City, and that stadium, it's a cool stadium, which, by the way, it's called Rio Tinto, but the fans figured out if you take out the space in the middle, you get Riot into Stadium, which is probably
good.
Yeah, pretty much my favorite ever. So it's got a cool name. It's a cool venue. That is, I think, that is a gold standard, and I think Sac Republic Stadium is better than I expected to be out of Cal Expo. I've always been impressed. They do a great job putting on a show. It feels like a good venue, if kind of one that they have cobbled together. So it's, the bottom line is, Joe, it's the biggest soccer venue in this town, and I think they should play. I think they should play finals for any sport in an area in town. Don't you agree? Like any town, that any venue that's the best in the area should host that sport for a section championship.
And a lot of it goes to bidding. So the governing body CIF is listening to venue bids, and Scott Moak is big with the FC Republic. He knows the people in the Sac-Joaquin section from his many years of public address announcing, including section events, his longtime PA for the Kings. So he was the X factor in helping that. Yeah. I think you might have played a little role with helping with emails and, hey, let's do this.
Just putting people together. I don't think I did anything that wasn't already happening. I think
it's awesome. No, and it's really cool. So the section Division I boys and girls championship, correct me if I'm wrong, will be a week from tonight at Heart Health Park, home of the FC Republic, for Division I boys and girls championships, February 23rd. That's a great venue. And kudos to
February 24th.
24th. There we go. and kudos to FC Republic and those good people in working with the high school crowd. They, this is a soccer town, which is, I think, is a big reason why you said, let's give soccer another go. We've talked about this on this show where, how come we're covering soccer again? We did it for years and we didn't do it. And now we're doing it. Boys and girls, you've gone to games, I've gone to games. And it's kind of a, if it's just a soccer town, that's how you connect it together. We have not seen section baseball playoffs at Rayleigh Field, and not so much because it's too pricey of a bid, Jim, it's because as we see any of the Rivercat schedules, they play every day. And so that's it's kind of hard there. So that's why a lot of those section championships will be at Sacramento City College, American River College. I think the lower levels for soccer will be held at Cosumnes River College, which is where FC practices. That's a nice venue. That's a nice venue for other divisions.
Beautiful turf. I've been down there many times to practice, to do interviews. And I mean, for the size of it, I think it's perfect for almost every classification. But for D1, I mean, I saw a couple hundred, maybe a few hundred fans at a Davis Jesuit regular season game. And Davis is still in the Division I playoffs. I got to think that if Davis makes it to Hart Health Park, they might have 1,000 fans there, and which for a high school soccer game is a huge number. And that, it's obviously too much for the community college, but also, let's give kids the experience of playing where the big guys play, whether it's football, basketball, or soccer. I just think it's important, and I think it's important to build ties to the community from the professional team standpoint. They want to be part of the local scene too, not just some up on high organization that tweets funny gifs of their players from time to time.
No, that's excellent. I agree. No, it's well said, Jim, and that's what the CIF and its sections want to do is, provide a great venue and a great experience. And, we saw it 2 years ago with the section basketball playoffs at Golden One. What a spectacular venue. A lot of those kids go in there and they're kind of awestruck, and it's a nice partnership. That happened for years with Arco Arena, and whether it was Pete Sacco and the section commissioner then back in those days before Mike Garrison took over. And so just a couple of months ago, it was the section basketball finals were scheduled perhaps for somewhere in Stockton, like it was in 2019, but now it's been changed because Golden One reached out and said, we got an opening here. Probably a concert or something fell through. And so kudos to that. And you remember 2 years ago, Jim, we got a call from Lauren Gustus, one of our uppers who's now down in Salt Lake City. And she said, hey, ask around if any of the coaches and administrators have heard about this COVID coronavirus. And we went, what's that? And we asked around, and nobody.
I remember you saying that, and me thinking, like, should I be shaking these people's hands? So much of what you and I do is transactional. In not transactional in a bad way. It's friendly. So you shake hands with the coach, you fist bump with the player, or whatever. And I remember that was the first time, Joe, at the section championship games where I was thinking, should I be doing this? This doesn't seem like, this just seems weird to me now all of a sudden. And yes. Right. Here we are 2 years later, and in some ways it feels like it was last week because I've been sitting in my living room here ever since.
I've been Zooming here nonstop, and it was interesting because we were we had that reaction, Jim, because we weren't sure what is this virus, and so we asked around. I remember asking Mike Garrison, the section commissioner. Haven't heard. Within days, it was everybody knew about it, and schools were put on pause, and so we're back. It's nice to see. We've talked about it a lot on the show. It's great to see these nice crowds. I wrote a column this week. Hey, let's keep these crowds going. Let's challenge the schools, or I'm challenging the schools. Buy up those playoff tickets for the students during the regular season. They get in for free with a student body card. Not so much for the playoffs, but some schools like Jesuit and Folsom and some other schools will buy up those tickets, give them to the students because they want them there in the seats. So we hope to see that momentum continue.
Definitely. I mean, the playoffs are nothing if we don't have fans there. It's just another scrimmage. It's
shallow, right? Jim, always good. We will see you soon, and appreciate the insight always.
And thanks to everybody for fighting over covering the Division I soccer finals day. I've never had reporters lobbying me to cover soccer, but here you and Cam fought it out. I won't spoil it for readers, but we're excited for next week, the championship games.
Hart Health Park. I keep saying that backwards, but kudos to that. Always great to have Jim, and we're going to have Cameron Salerno join us in a little bit. I'm going to do a quick deep dive into the Sac-Joaquin Section boys basketball playoffs. So Division I teams to consider as we zip through this. Sheldon, you have to always consider Sheldon. The last 3 years were the Open Division champion. That's Rashad Bradley, Javier Mascarenas with a great photo there. This guy's a difference maker. This was a game last month or a few weeks ago against Jesuit, and he had a late dunk, as you can see there's 6.7 seconds left, and then he laid on the floor with cramping. He cramps every game because he is a relentless guy. So Sheldon seeded 5th, but could win this tournament. I thought it was a little bit of a low seed based on all the data and everything. So Sheldon's always a factor, certainly not the number 1 seed. But one reason Sheldon's going to be a factor is Joey Rawlings, the coach. He's in his 20th season, really does a great job emphasizing man defense. Everybody play defense. And yeah, all coaches say that, but how many of them get their kids to respond? He does for a lot of years, and Open Division championships, been in state finals, section championships. So he's done a great job. And he's got another tough defensive-minded team, and if they win this section, it might be his best achievement because I don't think a lot of people are projecting them as such. Our media friend Quentin Hamilton of the Modesto Bee shot some video of a Saturday game between Modesto Christian, longtime powerhouse, and number 1 seeded Intercom. And so this is an athletic, fast-paced game. This could be a playoff preview. Certainly, these are 2 powerhouse teams, and Modesto Christian's won 19 section championships at all divisions, including the highest division's been the highest ranked Northern California team this year at number 2. Dropped a little bit after losing to Intercom. Intercom is rolling along with Fred Wilson, terrific coach, who won section championships over at West Campus in the Sac City Unified. Best team in school history at Intercom. Intercom's only been around since 2004. It's in the Natomas Unified District. So this is their time. Derek Claxton, 6'6" guard, has been a terrific player. He did not play against Modesto Christian, so to still win that game by 12 points is really impressive. What about Folsom? When you talk about Folsom, you talk about great coaching for a long time. That's Mike Wall. He certainly dresses the part. Also big on defense and sharing the ball. And his right-hand coach and Matt Mills, the coaches say they have an anchor in Bryson Shackelford, and they play good defense. They won the Sierra Foothill League, got the number 2 seed. So we will see how the Folsom Bulldogs do in the playoffs, but that wouldn't be a surprise if they get to a final and even won that. Division II, you have to start with Grant is the defending champion, but we're going to touch on Elk Grove. 2 big-time players. There's Dejan Lott. He's got the best nickname in the section, Money. He's been a money player, 4-year starter with a lot of the other guys, including guard Carlos Cepeda. And then there's Amiri Britton, who's a 4-year guard. Terrific. This is a game against Casunas Oaks. More good photos by Javier Mascarenas. So that's a team to certainly look for. And so is Jesuit with Andrei Stojakovic, who is the son of Peja Stojakovic, the former Kings great shooter. And Andre's only a junior, 6'7" guard, terrific skills, could post up, can go baseline, can hit threes, can handle the ball. Great possibilities for Jesuit in this tournament, battle tested. And every team, every championship contender needs a tough guy, a big guy, and that's Kai Wallen there. He of the big legs and the great hair, and he's an X factor. He's gonna have to play big. They're all gonna have to play big. Could be Elk Grove versus Jesuit in a second round game. Jesuit opens against Vacaville. Elk Grove takes on Atwater. Let's talk about Grant. Grant's the defending champion. And it starts with Coach DEONARD WILSON. And when they won that championship 2 years ago, the Pacers, why is it so important to your community? This is Coach Wilson speaking. In flashback, he said it's good for these kids. It's good for the community. It's really a bound community. They're all binded and bound by athletics and achievement. So he likes his chances of getting back. They have 2 losses, the Grant Pacers, to Intercom. So it's a battle-tested schedule there. Let's drop down to Division III. This is LINDSEY FERRELL of Burbank, longtime coach. He's won a section championship with the girls at Burbank. He's got Omar Nesbitt and Isaiah Griffin, his The joys of the internet and the frustrations of the internet. So we had some kind of issue here. I'm going to blame Cameron Salerno. That's what you do when you have young talent like Cameron. We blame him for everything. Can we get Cameron on now?
I was worried it was my Wi-Fi, and I was about to. I saw my screen froze, and I was like, "Oh no!"
I was in in the middle of my best material, Cameron, and all of a sudden I'm not there, and I said, "What's going on?" And so, anyways, we're back. Hope we get people back. But Cameron, let's. I think some of the stuff I lost. We can't break down all the brackets. We got 6 divisions. The Sac-Joaquin Section site. It's easy to find. They have all of that stuff. Cameron's got stuff in the Sacramento Bee this week. I do as well. Boys, girls previews. But since we've got Cameron here, let's talk a little bit about some basketball. And one thing I want to talk about starting off is St. Mary's, the Rams, the powerhouse, 13 section championships in a row, 20 of the last 23. Are they ripe to go down this year? Meaning, can Folsom topple the Rams, maybe Oak Ridge? What's your sense? You've talked to both coaches, but the time is now.
Well, we saw it already this year. I mean, we saw De La Salle go down, and everyone thought they were the immovable object in Northern California, and no one can beat them. And I think it's similar to St. Mary's this year. I think Folsom or Oak Ridge can take them down. I got to see both teams last week. Both teams are extremely talented, well coached. And yeah, I think this is a year, and I think both coaches would say the same thing. So this is the year the Rams go down, I think.
I think so. And the great point about De La Salle, when you get to one of these mega superpowers and our locals can't beat them, the sections can't beat them, but Folsom did it in the NorCal playoffs, and now it's a perfect chance for Folsom and Oak Ridge. And we're going to show this photo of Steve White. We're going to make him look young and polished here. He's been there for 26 years and just a terrific coach, won a state championship in 2010. He's got another powerhouse team here. You talked to him, and I had it in a story this week, Cameron, when I was saying, hey, let's keep these good crowds going. The girls have done it. He's been an advocate. What was his thinking when Oak Ridge beat rival Folsom and actually won the coin flip too to be the number 1 seed? But what is his thinking? What did he tell you about why it's important to get good crowds? And he said there could be even larger crowds if there weren't COVID restrictions with crowds. I mean, he's very pleased, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, after the game, he told me, quote, "I thought it was unfortunate we couldn't allow more than 500 people. If it was normal, this place would have been rocking. It would have been packed. You guys are talking about one of the best atmospheres in high school basketball. It's still great, but it could have been so much better." And I think that last line really sticks with me because I think it could have been better. I mean, the crowd was amazing and it was packed. But, I mean, if there was no capacity limit, I can't even imagine how crazy that crowd would have been. And I thought it was awesome how all the students and all the fans, they came for the girls' game too. It wasn't just they piled in and with 2 minutes left. They were there the entire game. And it was a great atmosphere and a great crowd. And it's probably the best girls' basketball game I've been to. Just, I mean, with the game, the crowd, the teams, it was really an unforgettable day for Oak Ridge.
And that's awesome. And Steve White used to coach boys basketball in Southern California. And then he came up here to El Dorado Hills and coached girls. Boy, I've never looked back. And so kudos to these great crowds because these teams are superb teams, Folsom and Oak Ridge, fundamentally sound, a lot of skill, tenacity. And so they're certainly worth a watch. And same in Division II, Cameron. I'm just going to throw out a couple teams, 3 teams, Laguna Creek, Del Oro, Vista Del Lago, all have star players. Laguna Creek has 2 of them going on scholarship.
Yeah. And I projected, I'll throw out one more team, Antelope, who is the defending champion Division II. My projected Division II final, no offense to anyone who is not going to be in it, but my predicted final in the Sac B was Antelope versus Laguna Creek. I think it would be an amazing section final. Obviously, Laguna Creek would have to beat Del Oro on their way to the section championship. And also, Antelope would have to take down top seed Vista Del Lago. And obviously, we know March Madness, anything can happen. And we don't want to pencil in any teams to advance. But that's my projected final because I think both teams would really match up well. Like you said, Laguna Creek has 2 stars. Antelope is really coming together. Sean Chambers told me earlier this week that this is probably the healthiest and his team has been all season. And with that combination of the coaching and the players, I think Antelope can make a run to the section final.
Yeah. And Ray Young going to Tulsa. Zoe Tillery is another terrific player for Laguna Creek. Mary Carter, I think that's her name for Antelope. Madison Butcher going to Sac State. She's at Del Oro. So already all of those teams, and Kira Sadler from Vista Del Lago. So they're star powered there. Division III teams to ponder: Vanden, playoff regulars, loaded, great coaching, been to state finals, Placer, Lincoln Zebras. So, we look at these divisions and it's like, geez, all these schools are really good. They could probably play up. Division 4, Calaveras, Colfax, Dixon with probably its best team in school history. There's so much more on the section site and Cameron stuff in the paper today and online and who to look for. And is there a team that you're curious about, a player you'd like to see? I know we'd love to see Audrey Harris of Faith Christian get the Golden One Center. Who's that? That's the small school up in Yuba City, and she only leads the nation in scoring at 45.5 a game. Only a junior, 6'5'8" guard. But anybody else that you want to mention, or anybody else that kind of intrigues you, a team or a player?
Yeah, I mean, you kind of hit like with the head. I want to see Audrey Harris play. I think she's incredible. I mean, she's averaging 45 points a game, and that's probably more points I've ever scored in my whole entire high school career. So that's good for her. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of teams that really intrigue me. I think Vista Lago is definitely one of them. They're the top seed in Division 2. If they were to obviously chalk holds, they'd play Antelope in a semifinal. I think that'd be an excellent game. They played in the playoffs a few years ago, and Antelope won. That's when Antelope had their best teams in school history, with Janai Harriel. Trying to think off the top of my head. I'm going to go see Placer Del Campo tonight. I think that's going to be a really interesting game. I mean, Placer a few years ago had one of their best teams in school history. They went 26-2 before they lost to Merced in the semifinal. Then they lost in the first round of NorCals. So they're all obviously out for revenge. So it should be really interesting to see what happens.
It's Tony Camelucci, longtime Placer girls coach, great player in this section when he played. Is the game at Placer?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great venue, great gym, very cool. I'm going to be at Placer too. I'm going to be checking out boys soccer. So I might
hit me up if you're there.
Your car. What's that?
I said, hit me up if you're there.
There you go. So again, check out Cameron Salerno stuff every day this week online and on social media. We have previews and who's going to get to the section finals. Really quick, another name of note, the Donnelly Allen on Division 4 Capital.
Oh, yeah, she's a great player.
So this is the fun part of the playoffs, Cameron, is these players have to go out of their minds now to help maybe really carry these teams along the way. Division 5, Bear River is the top seed. Jen Krill is their coach. She won section championships years ago at Nevada Union, so it's neat to see that she's now coaching. She certainly understands what that was about. Well before your time, Cameron, but Nevada Union in the 80s and 90s was the area of girls basketball power. We don't see it so much now with changing, with the declining enrollment and all that, but some of those programs have been around for years. Colfax girls have won championships. I think the first 2 state championships in regional history, boys or girls, were Colfax girls in 83, 84, Division 3, when there were no Division 4, 5, or 6. So we've come a long ways. You've been to games at Colfax, great venue, Pucci Pavilion, all that kind of stuff. So Ron is the coach that gym is named after, Cameron, and he's the boys coach. I think he's been the boys coach 5 different times. He's basically saved the program by coming back. Lost his house in Colfax where he grew up to the fire from the fall. He wins a play-in game last night against Dixon. And so the Colfax and small schools, whether it's Placer, Bear River, whatever, they rock it, or Audrey Harris. So all that good stuff. All right, Cameron, closing thoughts, and then we're gonna bow out, sir. Anything?
I think Audrey Harris is going to carry her team to Golden One. That's my prediction.
There you go. I love it. We're going to get autographs with her. So thank you, Cameron. We'll see you probably tonight. And check his.
Oh, Joe got
there it is. Cameron also does a rooting section. So give him a follow, Cameron Salerno Media on Instagram. Thank you, everybody. Check us out every day. We'll see you next week. And apologies for the technical glitches. I probably tripped over a wire or something. So thank you, everybody. Be well.